Hello and good evening on this full moon of Virgo. We are ready to rock and rumble for another month of this wacky, crazy, holy shit energy that everybody's been feeling for these full moons. So, we are thankful that you are live and ready to really figure out what the Virgo full moon has in store for you. Equally, it is known as many different names of the bear moon, the snow moon, and there's so much in our different cultures that teach us that this is the time right before our spring full moon comes into effect. So the last bit of our quote unquote winter, but we feel like we haven't been having that winter. And we're going to talk about a bit about that because we have noticed so much in our world lately that has been so different and yet so the same. And we're really figuring out that all these cycles and these tones of our old habits, old loops, all these old dances and experiences and emotions and family bullshit, excitement. These are all things that we're figuring out now that is really coming to that head to say enough is enough. And thank you, Virgo, to help us into that focus and get into that strategy planning. So if you all know a Virgo, you're going to kind of identify with this moon because it's really big about knowing what is time to be dealt with and done. So if you've been dealing with struggles, frustrations, manipulations, chaos, all these different things throughout this year, season, or lifetime, you really are being called to say, hey, enough is enough. It's time to deal with what is at stake. And what is at stake now? It's your mental, it's your physical, it's your emotional, and it's your spiritual cups that are asking for attention and to be reordered and organized and cleaned. So our life is like a fish tank. You have to have aeration, you have to have the water, you have to have the rocks and the coral and our food. But there's so much that we have been just shitting in our own spaces constantly that this full moon is asking for knock 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 your attention to say, hey, it is time to really deal with what is at hand. So, the things that I have written down for us tonight is really understanding we are in the new age of Aquarius, and that is where we are awakening the ancestral lineage traumas, dramas, and llamas that are in our blood, in our veins, in our DNA. And with this happening all so deeply, right now, everybody's feeling the pressure. And that's why either your words aren't making sense, you feel like you have something to say but don't know how to say it. There's a lot to this process right now that's asking for you to stand up, not as a wounded warrior anymore, not as a go and save everybody mentality soldier. This is about being stewards and really being the custodians of cleaning up the spaces that need to be dealt with. Now, the biggest problem is that we are starting to realize how much time, energy, and effort we're really having to put in this space because you have let in so much into your surroundings. So, a lot of people right now are getting burnt out and tired, and we haven't even cracked into our spring, summer seasons yet. So, we are giving this as a pre warning that you need to stay very focused at tasked and be hands on deck right now because the most biggest problem, the most failure that we're seeing and connecting with everybody right now is there's so much on your plates that you're being overwhelmed, your anxiety's kicking in, and this is where the Virgo is asking you to bring in that order and law to this experience. The biggest thing is that you have to remember to say, "Hey, I am choosing to do this work, so stop trying to squeeze it out on everybody else's shoulders saying, "Well, you should be doing this, and you should be doing that, and this should happen, and that should be done, and why didn't you do this when you said you were gonna do this?" You're putting too much expectation on everybody, and this is where the reality check is saying, "Hey, then if they're not showing up for you, then you need to start dealing with it on your own, or you have to have better communication, or it's just not somebody or something that you should be doing anymore." So, if you're seeing that as a constant theme and struggle, then you're really coming back into that reality check of saying, "Hey, I really don't know what else to do with this because I need to have better step by step plans and programs to help really initiate this change that I really do see and feel in my soul deeply." So, another big thing that we want to say in this space is that there's time for apologies, but there's also time to be kind, but then there's also time to say, "No, this is enough." And we're really paying attention to the details. Virgos are very detailed orientated, and like the snow, every snowflake is unique and different in itself. So you have to understand in the season that yes, we are all unique and different, but we all fall together. We all bring such beauty and connection and awareness all together if you start to realize more and more and more that you are a snowflake. Yes, we're supposed to be unique and different, but you have to bring back the balance of how you will melt instantaneous or if you hit a surface that's hot, or do you then just become clusterfucked with everybody else and not realizing how you are not standing out or doing the importance to be that snowflake that melts on somebody's nose for the season, right? Like, what's your impact is what I'm trying to say about us being snowflakes. Um, and this is where it's super important to come back on. We are here to process and have ourselves knowing that you are going to be overstimulated. You're going to be overexerted. You're going to have all this burden and weight. This is the bear moon where a lot of people say this is the last bit that the bear is hibernating in this season and having very visceral dreams and using up the last of its reserves. It's getting hungry. It's knowing things have to wake up, but they're not ready for this. So it's really going to see a lot of this moment of people's darkest times. Are we gonna make it through this? Is it gonna be happening? Is it gonna be enough? There's so much of that energy right now, is that who's gonna make it out of this? Who's gonna say yes to this? And if that's happening in your own workplace, in your own family space, in your own mind, this is really important to take note of what's coming up for you and taking that time of introspection, because you are gonna get lost in the sauce, is another slogan of 2024. And knowing how are you going to really pay attention and show up for the people that you really care for, because if this is what you're asked to do and show up it with intention, not just expectation, not just with fucking shit shows anymore, with true intention, then yeah, it's going to allow so many more people to say, "I understand and I see you and I'm ready to do this work with you." So this analogy that has been coming up lately is the art of war. And it's really important to kind of dive into that aspect, because when people think they're just a snowflake, and this is why I'm bringing this analogy up. By one, you're meaningless. You melt in a second, right? Instantaneously. But if you came in a collective state in a meaningful way and became that snowfall, you can do just as much destruction as flowing water and being frozen water. So that's where it's different of realizing that just because we're structured in a different way and you're doing this work in a collective way, you have to know that you can do just as much action, motivation, destruction, manipulation if you are going in that same flow and frequency with somebody else. So being very aware of what you're committing to this year and knowing that not everybody's the bad guy around you. You are just having to really analyze where you want to be a part of this snowflake or this tribe or this collective and the voice and the mission. And if the voice and the mission is not being pure and true and connected, then you have to step back and really understand and wait for which is going to be the right at like action and flow or fight that you have to stand up for because everybody's trying to say that they're here for the right reason and we're healing the people. You are seeing so many fucking practitioners falling apart right now. It's not even funny. And it has been a hard system to really crack open lately to see different practitioners saying that they're doing this work, saying that they're being connected. A lot of people are saying that they're doing this in the background and then completely falling apart in the backgrounds. There's so many different layers that everybody as spokespeople are falling apart with that you have to understand that you need to find unionness in quality and versus quantity and having the ability to be in that authenticity. And I laugh so hard because now everybody's posters are saying authentic readings, authentic potions, lotions, connections, words, actions. And it's just, again, it's dead. It's dead in the vibration of it because so many people have used up their love, their light, their joy, their happiness, their success, their sensuality, their vitality. And that's where we're starting to see so many people not authentically being who they are. So, yes, there's super huge, powerful things that people are bringing to the table. But a lot of people I'm noticing are just being so fucking centered and selfish that's causing ourselves as a collective to really have a bad name and a rap right now. And so you're starting to see a lot of people who are authentic pulling away. You're seeing a lot of people who are authentic overworking and driving themselves over and over again so deeply, and they're suffocating and shutting down. And so the problem is that you have to check yourself before you wreck yourself because you have to understand you might be pulling in people for the wrong situation. And just because you're saying you're there to help them and get them out of their society and their environment or their households, you have to understand that person has to start using their tools and their actions to get ready for that. And you not having a side plan to having this work out in your favor. So many people have been coming up to me and saying, Shanice, I just want to do this with you. I just want to be this with you. Right now, this is not the time. I need to see people who are actually doing the work, and that's where recruiting will be happening after the fact. Yes, everybody says they're doing the work. Yes, everybody's coming back into their communities. But again, we're coming into this overcomplicated state that nobody's actually embracing what was asked of them because everybody likes to do the exciting part of it, but they're not willing to do the hard work of it. So, again, with the snowflake, when you have seen the experiment of the water magic or the frequency of the water, um, that is where water takes on the energy of the surroundings. So, the biggest thing that you see with tears, happy tears versus sad tears, underneath a microscope and how they freeze, is their crystallization has the abilities of really showing up what is their true vibration and how they really brought a beautiful design in it. So, if you've never heard of it, just hop on YouTube after this and just look up water energy. And this is where you're going to see when you talk mean to water and then they freeze it, it looks like shards of spikes and hurt and pain. Where you talk love into the water and then you freeze it, it's beautiful, majestic looking. So you have to really understand that everything in you as a human being with the meat suit has 70% of water constantly in your space. And a lot of people are not realizing that they're so dehydrated right now in this connection that they are not being attuned to their higher selves. A lot of people aren't actually connected to this space of their water to be that electrolysis that's helping filter out the toxins in their body to allowing what's going on in their space and their time. So if you're feeling like you're just like a dried out lizard or a fish out of a watering bowl, you need to get back into your baths, your rituals. And so tonight, I would like you to go outside, collect snow as much as you have, and pray and connect with that snow and have that in your bath and feel the vibration of what the moon really was asking of you because it was supercharged last night. So now going out to gather that snow and put it in a bath tonight will be very helpful for you and to keep that practice and ritual for about a week or so until you really feel religned and connected with the earth. And it's so ironic because why we're all not healing the best that we can, it's because we haven't had the true winter and snow that keeps us stuck and hibernated. Right now, in tons of the areas, there's bears waking up that should have never been woken up. It's in early February when this was starting to process. So, again, at the end of February, this is a big season right now for animals to get back into trusting that they're not ready to wake up yet. So understand your bear isn't fully ready to be out there doing all the things that it's being asked of you. You need to be well attuned and taking the time. So, another big thing that I wanted to read out for you is be proud of how far you've come. Do not fall into the trap of doing and trying everything. It's okay to have nothing figured out yet. Instead of judgment, be gentle and kind to yourself. Your mind, your body deserves rest and nourishment. This is where it's time to let go of control, enjoy some carefree time. The solutions will surface when you allow the dust to settle. And this has been huge, even on my personal story, is that I have been struggling to allow everything that I see coming forward in lightning speeds and trying to warn people, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And everybody gets triggered because a lot of you who are on this process either know when Shanice says something, it either is waiting for when it's going to happen because it usually always does. And that's because when you're channeling the solutions and the awareness from higher state and not getting yourself in the middle of your meat suit experience, a lot of people then are judging, oh, it's just Shanice saying this. Oh, it's just Shanice telling us what to do again. Oh, it's Shanice just having her way or the highway. There's lots of that energy that's going on right now, and I'm just using my own personal story right now, that this is where you're going to start seeing so many people pushing away from what's been constant or stable or strong in previous existence or times or defects. And if you have always been that person who's been at that stage of rebound and protection, you're gonna see so much pushback right now because, yes, you'll always look like the bad guy, but you have to stop then playing that part. And that is something where you will have to walk away and stop being the punching bag to this existence because we do not have enough time, energy, and resources for what is about to shake out in May to June timeframe. And I'm not given full details on what that looks like. All I've been shown is that buckle the fuck up, is what I've been told. This is impacting the world deeply. And if you think, and this is what it just keeps kind of analyzing back to, if you think COVID was fun, you're going to have a lot of fun realizing what's going to be a part of this May, June timeframe of 2024. Now that's going to ripple really deeply this summer, and you're gonna see just a lot of aggression that's happening around March and April because you're gonna have the Aries season. And that season's really gonna push people because we're in Pisces right now, that we're just kind of swimming without a reason, a purpose, a care. So everybody's feeling very wishy-washy and feeling like, yeah, this is what I should do. Yeah, that could be happening. But until the Pisces has the ability to be in a fishbowl, that's where they're depressed, versus a channel or a river that has one direction and where they need to go, versus the ocean. Everybody's in the ocean right now. This is the visceral, this is the dreaming, this is the dream time that's asking for you to really just sit and gather those connections and those stories. Because when the earth wakes up in springtime, that's where a lot of people are going to be like, oh shit, I didn't really prep or plan for that properly. So that's going to cause you a lot of extra chaos because, again, this year with the wood yang dragon, you have to be very attuned that the wood is there to help protect the fiery and go getter and shake shit up attitude of the dragon to then receive the abundance by the end of the year. Fall time. Fall time is so abundant, it's not even funny, but it's only going to be for the people that were doing the work in the right connective, higher ethics way. And the way that esoteric in all these different ways, people are really going to be pushing away from these tones of healers, practitioners, witches, gurus, voodoos, gurus, because all universe is asking for right now, um, is really important to come back into that awareness of you have so much more to bring to the table. And if you're shortchanging the community, you're going to be asked to pay up for what you lacked and didn't show up for. And that's where you will not be able to skimp away on people's coattails and not take accountability. And adults are going to be called out huge this year. I I know we have a lot of work ahead of us, and that is where a lot of people are going to feel very threatened, very hurt, very blindsided. There's going to be all kinds and victimized. There's going to be a whole lot of tones coming up with that energy and space because so many people um didn't do what was asked and what were boundaries. And so that's where this Virgo is like taking a chord and account and really putting the yeses and nos to the side of this. And it's crazy because I've had about 6 people come up to me in this year already asking to be a mentor to them. And the reality is that there is going to be some hard work. Everybody's going to have to step up to the plate because this isn't just army camp. This isn't just, putting your bootstraps and figuring out what's your compass if you don't get out of the woods. This is Navy SEAL shit. This is top notch awareness that we are having to bring people in to help be those guidelines. And if you can't clean up the shit that is going on in your own homes, you do not get to have the reality of making sure this is what you're going to be labeled as and give an honorary pin to be a part of the team. And this ain't by judgment, folks. This is all by connected channel. And what they are saying is taking the tally. So if you are not being a pure steward to what your finances are, what your house is, what your health is, what your timelines are looking like, people who are in the state of offering what's next will not be offering their services or their experiences. There is going to be a lot of firing of clientele, families, friendships, workships, everything around if they are not being stewarded in the way that is being asked. And that's where a lot of people, they won't give a shit about their pensions. They're not going to give a shit about their job, their marriage, their connections, because there's going to be two types of people. One is going to be a victimized state of them and just trying to mimic what the authentic stewards are trying to do and show up for. Because this isn't about everybody quitting their 9 to 5 jobs and doing work like this. Everybody does work like this. It's asking, where do you need to be at this moment in time right now? And so if you don't realize that these are things that you're being called and asked towards to be, then don't fucking play small. This is not a year to play small, and then if you're coming very overinflated and cocky and saying, "I got this, no problem," you better be ready for a lot of hard push-ups and not great cold temperatures to deal with. So, if you guys have ever, had the chance to read the book David Goggins, You Can't Hurt Me, that is an insight of what it was on an extreme level of what it is to be a part of those trainings and those experiences, and really to understand what grit and true ask is. So if anybody hasn't, throw it on the podcast because or on the Audible books, because it's really a great way to wake up that inner dragon and get your shit ready to rock and rumble. And that's a very Virgo toned energy homework piece that you can do. And now remember, I said it's extreme. So uh that is a steward and dedication beyond levels. And that's where you have to understand you are asked to do something in this lifetime. And he talks about that. And I want you to really understand, where do you need to start pushing yourself deeper and more um, impactful standing and motions of what you are doing here on this planet, because we're all dying. We're all going to be underneath this green earth or in the sky with ashes, that you are only here for this mission and this lifetime. And it's your choice on how you want to play the game, and that's fine. There's and I'm going to say this out as a disclaimer, there's nothing wrong if you want to say stay connected and content in the space and the energy that you're here, but then I am not in your space, because that's not the energy or the connection that I need to be in this lifetime doing and serving. So you will see that in a lot of people, that if you're just seeing people who are now all of a sudden doing card readings and all of a sudden doing the moons and the circles and all these different things. This is the next wake up layer, and this is the next call where the people that have been doing that for a while now are ready to step up for the next layer, or they're just recluding to themselves and that's it. They have been too burnt and hurt by the rest of the world that they don't want to do this anymore. And fair is fair. There's been days that I'm just like, you know what? I am so done with the bullshit, the lameness, the excusing, the victimist to do that. But really, again, this is the year that's going to test a lot of people. Um, that we need to be well-oiled machines to see how are we going to crack underneath the interrogations, the initiations, to then reap the rewards of what's next. And my theme is I have my eye on the prize, and my prize in this lifetime is to know that there are more people out there cracking the generational wounds, the septicness, and the tyranny that everybody has been put under, to just go ahead and deal with it. That's where I am absolutely fucking done. And that's the prize. That is where my mission, my lifetime is ready and here to serve for the highest good, and to be the steward of that change, to be the custodian. And it's not that I'm here to clean up your shit. I'm teaching you the tools, how to mop, how to broom sweep, how to pick up glass, how to not be stuck with people's addictions and used needles of just dealing with their own shit. So that's how I am here as a custodian. So tonight's homework, remember, if you have any questions, please put them into the chat. Um, and that's where it's just really welcoming to that point of, I am here to serve and teach and bring that action forward. But again, these are things that you have to be ready to do the work, and you're not going to love me. I have told people already this year, don't fucking think you get your best friend in this service right now. We have a lot of work to do in this collective need. So work on how detailed you want to specifically serve. That is your full moon. Release that in the fire or in the water. Um, Bury it in the snow. Let the snow do the work with it. Um, the world really wants to know what you're vowing and intending to do this commitment. So if you really are believing in that you have this voice and this gift, and but then you're seeing people say, "Oh, don't do this yet," or "Don't do that yet." Take note of it. Why is somebody saying something to you like that? And if they're in a calibration that you're wanting to listen to them or you feel highly regarded by them, then fucking listen. Listen to what's being asked and to do the homework. If your guides, your meditations, your card readings, your channelings, your downloads, are telling you to do this step, but you think it's just you as a human can just not do that step, you're gonna get burnt. Okay? I am not gonna be the lifeguard on the sideline telling you to stand up in the fucking kiddie pool. That is the universe really telling you you need to start here first versus you thinking you're drowning in the big end when you're only in the kiddie pool. So, if there's something the universe is telling you to go do, to go call somebody, to go text somebody, to have that aha conversation, to have that I forgive you statement or cut it off. You can't keep dragging everything forward and thinking you're going to get away with it. Your exes don't get to be in your space anymore if there's no healing or healthiness. You can't fantasize that you can co-parent and have this okayness after all the shit that they're doing. You can't go and have parents saying that, "Oh, I love you," and then snitch and hurt you in the next breath after this. You can't keep doing it. You can't have best friends saying, "Oh, I love you," and let's do this together, and then bitch to other friends how annoying and a pain in the ass this trip is gonna be. You can't be doing it. And a lot of people's inner child are struggling so hard with this concept because they can't do it, and nobody's inner child loves to be told, "Don't do it." Guess what we automatically slingshot into? Let's do it, baby. Let's fucking prove it wrong. So have at her. So many people keep telling me, "Oh, Shanice, I'm so hyper vigilant and I'm so on point on how I'm watching how this person is, or I know what they're doing in the background." No, you don't. When you are in the thick of it, you don't see it. And I can tell you from a wounded soldier how the fuck that feels. And girlfriend and boyfriends, you don't see it. You can be as much attuned and aware as you possibly think you can, but when you are in the thick of survival and just trying to get that to that next embankment before the enemy and the hurt and the pain take you down and out, you will do anything to just get through that next thing. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, Shanice, I won't go back to that person. I won't have that feeling towards that person. We're done. I don't talk to them that way. We're not friends anymore." Guess what? They are watching your social media. They are watching who you are in the community. They are watching what are your reactions on the texting. They are talking to your friends. They're talking to your family. They're talking to your children. They're talking to your coworkers. They are doing anything to be in your space. They have always had that cord and that connection. So this moon really is stating clean up your loose ends and take real fucking accountability of how you keep letting in people that hurt you and manipulate you and cause this chaos for you, because the people that are actually holding guiding ropes and lines or pads so that you don't hit your head on the cement when you're swimming these lanes right now in Pisces, that you're cutting cords and ropes to people that are truly guiding, and that's going to be a hard thing to kind of differentiate between what's a guiding pad and or a line versus cords that are trying to be wrapped up around your legs, your hands, and your neck. So the best thing to do with that is introspection, time, guidance, meditations, and really checking your ego human meat suit self out of that space so that your real self can really figure out, okay, I know I love my people that are in our home or in my space, but I just keep feeling that this is not okay. It ain't fucking okay. So you need to take that accountability. And it's not going to go be an asshole or a bitch to somebody else after this. This is literally you getting back into the factor of like, hey, I really am hurt. I feel I am seeing in myself right now, I'm not being the person I really want to be because I am tired of telling you to do this. I'm tired of being this person that is your punching bag. So until I see that there's respect that we both can work on or go to therapy together or have a session with Shanice or have a meditation or go for supper and talk about this authentically and not victimized, then you will have the ability to have so much more abundance. Everybody wants abundance. Everybody wants freedom. Everybody wants stability this year. Good old dragons. Like, yeah, that's fine, but you got to get through the gate first. So if you can't remember what a dragon is in a fairy tale, go check out a few different dragon movies like we've talked about in the previous moons before and in the Year of Our Dragon video to really understand what is the depth that we are needing to conquer our fears, our illusions, our manipulations, so that you really have the ability to come back to realizing what the fuck you were doing here. Because it's not to save the princess and the victim, it's literally to reclaim your inner child. Remember, the year of 2024, number 8, the year of reclaiming. Take your power back. So, hopefully, this brings more detailed and guidance back to you guys. If you do have any questions or would like to have readings, please contact me personally, and I will feel if you are ready to have. I will be giving you a card for this year, but it's or this month, but in this year, you will have the reading that is really going to blow your mind when I feel it's calling your name because that is when you are doing the work to say that this is it. And remember, if those of you who have come to Rise or Blossom, will see you at Integration on March 7th or 8th to the 9th weekend. And really understand how you need to be clearing up your spaces and getting ready for that aha moment because this is not just something that is going to get away with it. It's a huge judgment and accountability of justice. That's the judgment. Was that a justified judicial statement that really holds up to a feather on a scale to your heart? That is the Egyptian folklore or teaching and practice that really says if your heart is light as a feather, then you do not have the heaviness or the ego or the manipulation on other things in this lifetime. If you truly have forgiven and are light as a feather on your judgment day. So, really understanding if you are heavy when somebody talks about a name or a word or an action, you have to understand there's going to be a fine line difference between that person being the problem, the attacker, the villain in your story, or that is just somebody that definitely is just not meant to be in your space in anymore and that is just forgiven, released and dealt with in this lifetime because karmic debts are upon us. April, your tax season, it's the same energy of Aries because you are coming into the zone of paying up and dishing out the things that you no longer need to be served and dealing with. So if that person is taxing you so deeply on your mental, your physical, and spiritual and emotional levels, your cups again, right? Coming back to our beginning of our conversation, stay focused on how that is being asked and what needs to be filled up. So that's where truly your taxes need to be coming from, not just your burnt out energy and money vortexes. So claim back your power, reclaim. Welcome to this year of 2024 and this full moon of Virgo. Again, if you guys have any questions, concerns, or ideas that you really want to throw out, please put them in the chat. We are here to converse and connect. And if you have anything else, we would love to chat about. But thank you all for joining in today's meeting and conversation. We're so thankful to have you all here. Um, yes, and that's where if you guys are feeling that this full moon, I'm hoping that this is what's sticking on your guys' full moon as meetups. But if there's things that you guys keep feeling like you're not getting to or connecting, just please let us know. We are doing our best. Obviously, technical situations have been a bit of a frustration. We're trying to get away from Facebook, and it just seems like everybody's just so codependent, so we're trying these new mailing systems, YouTube, all of this stuff. And I know it's going to take time and traction because I've been doing Facebook since 2015. So I know we're just teaching more people to come on this platform. So if this is needing some sort of tuning or figuring out a better way so you guys can see this or connect to this, we will get something figured out and ready to rock and rumble. And yes, I'm super glad that you hear that, Crystal. It's time to clean up your space first before. Awesome. If you guys have any other questions, I'll just wait for a few more seconds. Please type them away. And if not, we will call it good for tonight. Again, we will be sending out, there's more videos coming up. We have some big aha teachings that you'll be seeing on this YouTube shortly. You'll be seeing them next week. So we can't wait for you guys to be connected on what we use these tools as custodians to clean up the shit shows. I'll be teaching that here shortly next week. Awesome. Well, so much love and blessings to you all. Have a great, wonderful evening. Again, your practice and ritual for tonight is to connect like a snow and the water and be like the bear. This is your final month before the spring. So, really get into those deep dreams. Take some snow, put it in your bath tonight, and really connect to what the world of the earth and the snow moon is teaching. This is a powerful, powerful moon, as they all are, but this one is really always saying, pay attention to me. The facts are in the little details. So know that these facts are always in the little details. So if you need to really understand what are your words, what are your roots, what are your actions, what are you feeding yourself, that's really going to come into effect for you deeply this year. Thank you guys. We will catch you on the flip side sooner than later. And again, good night, good evening, and have a wonderful rest of your day from the Niche Nation. Take care. Bye bye.